The views, comments, and opinions of the following program do not necessarily reflect those of Morris Media Studios, MorrisMediaLive.com, or its affiliates. Listener discretion is advised.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the Ladies' Room, Morris Media Live. And I'm Brenda.
It's your girl, KB.
Hi. Well, this week we had one of the most tragic things happen in our community. And I thought that it would be, Kim and I thought that it would be a great idea to just represent Nips today because he did so much for the community and was such an outstanding citizen at this point, And
he left a legacy.
Yes, he did. Just running from becoming from a gangbanger to an entrepreneur, it's not easy. And not being educated through the system to give you some form of guideline, although the system is broke and it needs correction, but you can still extract prominent information out of it. And he didn't do that. He dropped out of school early.
Right. And he did, but he did carry on. Like, he left a blueprint. So he, like you say, he grew up in a gang, and then he transformed. He had transformation in his life, turned his life around, and went back to the same neighborhood, and
literally never left it.
Right, literally never left. But turnaround did good for the neighborhood. That
he did. It was just so many things that I had an opportunity to read and to learn about him until it was just amazing to me. Mm-hmm. He started off, he was a gangbanger, rolling 60s, and because he was his parents came here, and that's where they landed, was there. So, of course, if you're in the neighborhood, you don't necessarily have to become a gang member just because you live in that neighborhood, but it is tough. Mm. It is tough. I have 3 boys, and I moved to the suburbs because my oldest son was getting approached.
To join a gang.
Yeah, getting approached. And I'm like, oh, that's not going to happen. I can go down here and go, hey, I'm on these gangbangers, which I did. That's not a lifestyle because just fortunate for me, they were like, oh, my gosh, they were really cool with me. But my son was getting approached. And we were off of 77th and Crenshaw. Mm. And so I just said, no, I can't do it. I'm not going to. If it's in my means, because everybody may not have the opportunity to move out of the hood or, to relocate. But I said, I have to get the boys out of this because I can't contribute to that. But back to Nipsey. One of the most interesting stories that I read was that when he turned 18, he went back to his father's home country, which is right next to Ethiopia. I cannot pronounce it.
What's it?
It's
I forgot.
Intrica?
And something like that. I think it is.
But I cannot pronounce it. What is it?
Itria.
Itria, yes. So he went back to Itria with his dad. Mm-hmm. And he said the first 2 weeks he was going crazy because no cell phone, no internet, no television, no technology, just a whole nother life that he was being introduced to. Mm-hmm. But he said after the first 2 weeks he started adjusting. Right. And he was like,
it's an eye-opener.
Yes,
for sure.
Absolutely. Then he just said that he just started embracing his heritage and enjoying the trip and just really taking it all in. And he said in the interview that when he returned from there, he had a different perspective on this life. Mm. And he went hard. Him and his brother, Sam, which they call him Black Sam, they were selling socks and T-shirts and stuff on the corner of Crenshaw and Slauson. In the same area, same exact spot that he purchased, but he was selling socks and just anything they could sell. And he said from the police harassing them and the owners over there in the shop harassing them, they just kept taking a loss. Taking a loss. Until finally one day he said after the police had taken their products, he looked up and he saw that the sign said leasing. You know, he's like, leasing? Okay, so they did a little more investigation on that, and they started renting one of the spots off of Crenshaw and Slauson.
Wow.
And the same owner that was telling him that you guys can't be out. Well, he wasn't an owner. He was a tenant there, but he kept telling Nipsey and his brother and them, you guys cannot be out here. So they turned the money until they finally brought the spot. And now the same guy that was telling him that he couldn't be there was now paying him rent. So that's how life can change.
It can definitely change.
And in that story, I just want to say that we have to understand that we can change and we can transform. And there is no excuse for us not to be the best that we can be other than our mindset.
Right.
And once he went out there, reprogrammed his mind, he just came back and just started grinding.
And the beautiful thing about it is, like I said, he left a blueprint.
Yeah.
Like the 7 Money and Ownership Lessons by Nipsey Hussle.
Yeah, hold on.
So
Hold on. Yeah, that was good. That's really good.
But that's something that...
No, we're going to talk about that too. We got a whole show.
So you got on Nipsey.
On Nipsey. So
I got to get this Joe Biden question in too.
Okay. But I want to go back to the story I was telling in regards to him owning the property over there. So they did get it. But then his brother went to jail. Black Sam, who's older. So he went to jail, and they were trying to hang on to it, and they lost it. So then when his brother came back out, they got it again.
They went at it again.
And then, so the brother went back to prison.
Wow. And so that alone would discourage many of people.
Yes.
So,
but he said, let me say this part.
Just
Let me finish this little story here. So then he said when his brother went back to prison, his brother's main concern was, can you guys hang on? Can you hang on to the shop? Can you hang on to the shop? And Nipsey like, yeah, okay, all right. So the whole family kind of like banded together, and they hung on to the shop. And then
so the whole family.
Well, his, like his sister, his mother, everybody, grandmother, everybody just did what they can to hold on. To hold on to it, because Nipsey was not yet making money that was selling. He wasn't selling his CDs and stuff at the time. So they're out there. He doesn't know education. They're hustling. And they're trying to keep it. But the second time, I just want to say that they held on. And he held on. And then Nipsey came back. The brother Sam came back, and they still had it. And then it's a little bit more, but I'm going to let you go on into what...
Well, I was just going to say the 7 money and ownership lessons, excuse me, which I feel is very, very, very... You would what?
I went through it. I got it. I wrote it. I got that because I thought that was important.
So what's your intake on the Hustlenomics?
Oh, shoot.
Okay, so on Hustlenomics, you learn all the secrets to the game on your way up. Most folks want to skip the process. When you skip steps, you miss lessons. And this is so true.
It's true.
I mean, it's true.
It's true. You have to go back step by step, and that's what happened. You have to go
step by step. And I tried building a business skipping steps because, who wants to take all the steps? But then you do miss the lesson. So you have to start back over, and then,
No, the steps are important. That's why whoever is listening, if you have an ideal, a dream, a vision, my suggestion is for you to write it down.
Business plan.
And then once you write it down, then you write down the steps that you think you need to take to complete it. But then once you do that, then you start your research and say, okay, now what you have to find out the necessary steps. What is really going to take? What is it really going to take to get this completed? So with his economics, he did that. Right. And it just prospered.
And it's just showing you that it can be done.
And it wasn't easy. He didn't get where he was. It was not overnight. People see the rewards, but they don't see
everybody.
You don't see what it takes to really actually get there. And it's a lot. So that was one.
And so 2, on turn up versus own up, it isn't cool to be in the club spending all this money or having cars and jewelry, but don't own any real estate. This is so true. This is so true. A fourplex. If the answer is no, you're not a real hustler.
Right.
And that's how I say it. You got to own something.
I
mean, there's no time limit on, people are building up to that, but you do have to own something.
I think what has to happen is it needs to be programmed in your mind that's what the next step is. Because the very first thing when you get money, you start buying the things that you wasn't able to get, and you don't really understand how to move money or how money really works.
I think clothes is an exception when you're a girl.
Well,
I mean, you don't go overboard, but you do need clothes.
That's really interesting. No, you do need them. But I want to say this about the own up instead of the turn up. It is important that our young brothers understand that You have to own something.
Right.
And I think one of the lessons that Nipsey is leaving behind, I mean, a really profound lesson, because it doesn't matter who's speaking on him, what they're saying. Somebody is speaking on the fact that he owned the block.
Right.
He owned the block. He said that you cannot be out here claiming the block and you
don't even own
the
it.
block.
Right.
But then it takes a mindset to get that. How do you get from cripping to owning?
Right.
Because I don't know the origin of what would really make a person become a Crip or a Blood, but I think it's in need of acknowledgement. It's in need of something that's lacking that partnership's supposed to bring. So you get it from the streets.
In order for you to claim something, you gotta own it. I mean,
and the other thing, I'm speaking on that part, on the cripping part, one of the interesting facts that I saw was in front of the store, they had a picture. It was an old picture, probably when they first got it. Mm-hmm. And it was a lot of people there. And the brother that was that they said that shot him was literally in a picture with him, one of his friends.
Right.
And that's just envy, jealous. That was just so sad, but we can talk about that later. But I think the ideal and the message that Nipsey is leaving us is that we better wake up and we better look around and we better do something for ourselves. Right. And you could be out here cripping, blooding, and doing whatever you're doing.
But be smart about what you're doing.
But you need to make sure that you're investing your money.
You can't crip and blood for life.
No, some do though. But who was the young brother that he, instead of buying a gold chain, Killer Mike? Killer Mike. And so he took a page off of here, and instead of buying a $250,000 chain, he brought $250,000 worth of real estate.
And you do see a lot of more athletes and entertainers with that mindset now. So that's very important.
You're different on a different level.
Right.
Once you start acquiring money as an athlete or entertainer, of course your options are out there.
Right, but a lot of entertainers weren't taking that option. But they were going into bankruptcy. But now, excuse me, buying the gold chains and the mini cars and all that. But now you see them buying property instead of the gold chains or whatever. But gold doesn't depreciate either.
No, but here's the thing. Tupac, he talked about it, and we loved him. He talked about it. But Nipsey was, he lived it. He was about it. He did it. And even with our major entertainers, we could go with the basketball players, Jordan, all them. I mean, what I feel on that is that, brothers, you get a multi-million-dollar deal with Nike. Okay, that run for some years, you get your money up.
Then go back and...
The next deal is go to the community and put up a factory that's going to produce your own shoes. And then it could be produced, producing jobs for people, and then your shoe is still going to sell because what? Black people love style.
And then you're employing your community. Exactly. Or the community that you choose to
whole purpose of it.
Right.
The whole purpose, get a factory,
jobs.
Create the jobs, and then you still sell your shoe.
Right.
Understand?
Because we're buying the shoe.
We're buying the shoe. So why not put the jobs in the money and have it recirculating back into the community?
Right.
So that's the own up on Nipsey for me, is that all these people out here with all this money and not saying they're not doing anything, because a lot of celebrities
we just don't hear about it.
They are doing a lot, and we haven't researched them. I mean, Jay went to Africa, provided water. B got a transitional house down in Texas. I mean, it's stuff that people are doing. LeBron James have the school. There's more and more. They're giving, they're doing, but it has to be. Here's this one brother,
right?
This one brother that's not even on their status financially,
and doing
the most, and doing way more than I can imagine. But we got to say, you have the Oprahs and them. They're doing things with other countries, and that's important and that's good, because during Nipsey's return home, it made him international, because now the children were looking up to him and knowing who he is. And so, but back again, I want to repeat this. Tupac was about it verbally, but Nipsey, he was about it physically, mentally, his soul. He put his whole soul, life, and body into making sure that the hood, something is there in the hood for the children, for the people, and plus generating money. His store is actually the very first smart store. Very first smart store in history is a store over there on the Marathon on Crenshaw.
Like a holding store.
Yes, it's called the Marathon on Crenshaw and Slauson.
Right.
Because I went in there to get a onesie for my grandson. And the store was absolutely fabulous inside. I loved it. The whole vision of, it looked like it was in a capsule. Like the clothes and stuff was they hang on the wall like almost literally like it's inside of a capsule. But it was really, really nice. So what are we saying? Own up.
Okay, so 3.
Own up. 2. Own up.
Entrepreneurship. The new mindset is we don't want advances. We want equity. We don't want one-off endorsements. We want ownership. Equity is important. You can build on equity. That's very important.
Exactly. And equity comes from ownership.
Ownership.
And I think he's talking a lot on this one, a lot also about the music business, because although Dre is wealthy now and Ice Cube is wealthy now, but when they first entered the game, not understanding what the contract was, I think the dispute came with Ice Cube saying that he didn't want to sign because he wasn't going to take $75,000. But for a brother off of the street to have absolutely nothing, $75,000 sound like a lot.
Right.
But it's not a lot compared to your record selling millions and millions of dollars of copies, which the record company is controlling.
And a lot of them will take endorsements versus owning their own rights to their songs or commercials that they've done and things like that. And you're not gonna get you get pennies on the dollar with an endorsement versus you owning it.
Right.
So that's
he owned his masters,
right.
And it's very few people that really own their masters.
So Nipsey
in the
did
music,
own his masters.
he owned his own music masters. So that is a plus for his family. Because that means that they will still be able to...
they have their rights to...
They have the rights to and still be able to feed off of it as it's played. So everyone that streamed it, every station that's playing its music, he will get capital for that. But it is important to understand that I believe in order for him to make these moves and these decisions that he made, that there had to be some research done. You have to do research in order to know what you can do. And
probably mistakes were made along the way. That's how you learn.
They lost the first. They lost the
right.
shot.
So that's how you learn.
Yeah, and
so don't feel bad when you fail at something. Just pick yourself back up because that's how most of us learn.
Yes, but the failure part is, I believe, partly due on the fact that we don't do the process, the steps, back to number one. We do not do the research to figure out what is it going to take for this to be successful. My family is now taking on we're taking on a project in the real estate era. And the one thing in the conversation within my family that was discussed was, okay, the what ifs. So what if this happens? Then what's next? What do we do if this happens? So I think you have to really look at whatever you're doing business-wise from every perspective and do some research. And if you don't understand something, look at the person that is doing what you're doing. You know,
but it doesn't always play out the same.
Everybody's different, but you have to look at people. If you're running around with,
you also have to take a risk, though. I mean,
that's what the risk is. The risk is that you're doing it.
Right.
That's the risk, out the norm.
That's true. But the what ifs, it's like, what if this happened, but what if it don't? You know, to me, that's the risk.
Okay, but the what if to me is be prepared for it.
Because
we still moving forward.
Prepare. You got the business plan, so you got to prepare.
So make sure I make this really clear. The what ifs is, what if this person loses their job? Then the solution for that is that we have a cushion so that we'll handle that. If anybody loses their income or their money's not coming in, before we even start the venture, there's a certain amount of money that have to be in the pot, period. So then we can cover the what ifs financially. If someone loses their job or someone's not able to contribute or to pay their portion or whatever it is, the whole thing is we have money in the pot up front to cover that particular what if.
Cushion.
Yeah, that's the cushion up front. So that what if is just being prepared, doing the research to understand what it's going to take to make whatever your dream is a reality, and also be able to sustain it if the unfortunate happens or something that you were not
pros
expecting.
And cons along with your process. There are pros and cons.
Yes, there are.
Right.
Okay,
so number 4 is Black Capital. Business models are built around our cultural currency. They develop. I can't even talk. They develop the platform. I don't have my glasses.
Okay, they develop the platform, implement a structure, and bring us in to raise value.
Right.
So they say,
the Black Capital,
our money, 1.7 trillion.
Right.
Is what Black people spend a year.
It's a new mindset.
So he's saying that you have to put this. Excuse me. They develop the platform, implement structure. It's just what we're talking about, developing the concept.
Right.
What is the structure of it? And, well, he's talking about other people. And then they bring us in to raise the value.
Is it our ideas? Because we're the ones, like you said, we're the biggest consumers.
We are.
So, I mean.
But I think that we're the biggest consumers, but the thinkers
educated.
on a whole.
Right.
Not necessarily
what
uneducated.
I mean by educated is how we go about purchasing things.
How we do things. And I think that if people can... People have been making money off of black people for a long time.
Right.
Period.
They still are.
That's just what it is. But now, if we reprogram our mind to understand that, they're black people pick cotton and didn't get it paid.
Right.
People help build America didn't get the 40 ounces. The 40 acres in a mule. We didn't get that. You know what I'm saying? And it was just on and on. And it's the athletes. You guys are running back and forth up and down the field, and you're getting paid once you get to that status. But now imagine all the athletes in junior college, in universities, and the universities are making billions off of these boys.
Not getting nothing.
And these boys are not getting paid and could get hurt, and then their career is over. Right. We need to step on that and change that for ownership too. They need to be able to say, okay, we appreciate you guys running that ball, because if you didn't run that ball, this university
wouldn't make all this money.
It wouldn't make all the
check.
money off of this particular sport.
Now, what I took from the Black Capital is like, you know how they have like the Chinese community, and so the Chinese they spend the money with themselves. They build, they just build, like it'll be 20 families in one home. One to buy a house 1 year, the next year the next family, so on. And then, but they recycle the Chinese dollar. They have stores, they have grocery stores, clothing stores, all that, but they recycle their own dollar. So that's how I took that. We need to come up with a list of black-owned companies and just recycle black dollars. Yeah,
I think that's what one of the things that you and I talked about is for the continuing rest of this year that we're going to make sure that we keep Nipsey's movement alive, and we're going to push purchasing black only. One guy did it, and he did 3 days, and he was like, he can go on, But I want to touch a little bit on that structure and the ownership, and us having our dollars circulating in our own community and within ourselves. But we have to understand we took a major hit. No disrespect to Martin Luther King, because he was a beautiful orator, he was a beautiful brother, and he died like Nipsey for the cause.
Malcolm X too.
And Malcolm X. But I want to say this about King. When we speak on integration, it was so important for us to integrate with these people. We took the biggest hit of our lives,
didn't we?
Because prior to us integrating, we had our own doctors, our own hospitals,
black taxis,
our own
black
grocery
Wall
stores.
Street, all that.
We had our own medical facilities. We had everything that we needed, our own grocery stores, everything. And then we integrated and we started taking our money to them. Right. And then they realized
their ice water was cooler.
Yes, and they didn't care. At some point, they wouldn't take the black dollar. But then at this particular point in time in history, they understood that, dang, the black dollar is huge. And we've been taking our money to them ever since. We want to be, because it's a thing that's been put in our mind that, the white man's ice is colder. It's all ice is ice, but in our mind. And that's why the reprogramming of our mind and how we view each other and how we view our lifestyles, how we view our neighborhoods, it has got to change. We have to see things as Nipsey saw them, that it was prolific, giving life. Right. And so he gave life to a community by purchasing, by being there, by still being that figure. Most people, we talk crap about people that make it and don't come back to the hood. Then the brother come back to the hood.
And look what happens.
That was jealousy, envy, and that's anywhere and everywhere. People are jealous and envy behind all type of things that we couldn't even imagine.
And be standing right next to you.
Standing right next to you. But I want to say, so to go back to my point on our black ownership, now we're scattered. Where's the black community?
Where's the black, right? And where do you start?
Dempsey was hanging on to the Crenshaw district because he knew that this it's really going up in price. He know that it's going to be fabulous in about 10 years. The west side of Crenshaw.
And now it's his neighborhood.
Yes, and so he was hanging on. I want to say this, one of the things that I really loved, and speaking on the neighborhood and hanging on to it, was that, him and Lauren did the GQ spread.
It was so cute.
And there was one picture in
so
there
cute.
That Lauren is outside in the hood,
watering grass,
watering flowers, and Nipsey standing on the sidewalk like a protector. But what I got out of the picture was that it doesn't matter where you live, where your home is, if you beautify it, if you could see the beauty in where you are and you transform it, the beauty that lives in you will come out into wherever you are. That's and the house was it was a house in the hood over here.
Right. But it was beautiful.
They had flowers. They had it going on. And it's just showing that wherever you are, you could become. Wherever you are, you could do. You can make it rise to wherever you are. I don't care if you're wherever you live.
Right. You know, a lot of people do move out because, they have beautiful homes out here or whatever. It's where you are. Beautify that where you are.
The beauty lives inside of you. And when I look at something or someone and I see the beauty in them, I understand that that's the beauty that lives inside of me, wherever I am, wherever I'm moving. I walk down the street, I see a sister, her hair is nice. Oh, your hair looks beautiful. I like something. I let her know because it's important that we pump each other and we let each other know that we are beautiful. And the beauty does live inside of us, and we can share it. And I think that's what Nipsey did.
And I wish everybody would do that, especially in our Black community, because we do need it the most. We need that the most.
People think that we're angry.
Right.
Excuse me. People think that we're angry and we're upset. And I think what we have done was adjusted. We have adjusted to what they have given us. We have adjusted to not everyone. I'm not generalizing, putting everyone in a category. But there are a few, there are some of us that we've adjusted to what they put out there.
And that's true.
I'm not wearing my natural hair. I'm adjusted to the look or that becomes more favorable.
No,
or we think it
and we
does.
need to do a show on that too, because is it more convenient? Do you do it out of convenience, or do you? Because you have to get up early in the morning, go to work. You got to look presentable.
Part of it is that it's easy, quick, and let's go. You get a weave. You don't have to really worry about it,
right?
No,
or are you?
No, I'm not trying to. I understand my Blackness and my heritage, and I love who I am. But I'm saying this to say, putting myself on the line, because where did I get this look from? What made me want to have this look? It's a mindset. Okay. It's a mindset. I'm not wearing my natural hair, a natural, or I'm not flocking black Afro puffs. Rage. But, I'm not doing that. So the question is, why? And that's just for me, something I need to do some introspection on that because we've been brainwashed, bamboozled, and tricked. And to the point we're tricked out of our land, we tricked out of our culture, we tricked out of who we are.
And everything. We have no traditions, we have nothing.
Without even being aware that you've been tricked. When you get a backhand slap and you don't even know that it came, that's really a backhand slap. Okay? And I'm going to speak on me personally. I think I've adapted ways that are not African American or Black ways.
But what are Black ways? What is our...
I think just being true to yourself, not trying to lighten up your skin, not trying to wear hair that white girls wear, just being, I think being...
what about wearing makeup?
I think makeup enhances you. Okay. I don't think it needs to be caked on every single part of your face, but I do think that it enhances you. Like, I love eyeliner and I love lipstick. But I don't wear a whole foundation
the cover
and all
up, like
everything else, and I don't do all that.
Contouring and all that.
Yes, but I think that one of the things you do need to look your best at all times, no matter what. And if makeup is something that you're into and it enhances your beauty, I'm not going to be the one to say don't put it on
because you might need it.
I just limit what I use,
right?
Because I don't want the wear and tear.
Okay, so Black ways. What is Black ways? Is it celebrating all the holidays that everybody else celebrate? Is it doing it in a different manner? What is the Black way?
I think we lost it.
We did. We don't have traditions. We don't have any, like, when I was grown, I heard about jumping the broom. I was like, what is that? Is that really our tradition? Like, I don't know.
It just requires some research to understand the truth of who we are. The truth. Because
we all come from, like everybody said, we originated in Africa, but we all were in different tribes. So, you know what I'm saying? So you can't pinpoint and say.
But all the tribes were where? In Africa.
That's
so you might be, you're still from Africa, but you might be from a different tribe.
Right, but with different beliefs, different religion.
I think everybody was on one accord at one time. I do believe, so? Yes, I do. I believe that the only way that they could have existed was to be on one accord. And I think that when
they had wars back then. You watched Shaka Zulu?
Yes, I do. I watched it before.
So they had
but I mean, it's a movie, and I think I think we could pull a little bit out of it. I'm not really sure on the African culture, or where we came from. I have some bits and pieces,
right? Me too.
And I'm not saying they didn't war with each other, but they didn't have guns just shooting and killing each other.
Spears but
I don't think they were. I think they lived in a more peaceful setting than I don't know. Have us thinking that they were animals living in the jungle. Africa is one of the most
beautiful country. Right?
No, I'm saying, but so they in the jungle throwing spears at each other, each tribe trying to kill each other. I don't believe that. Now I'm gonna do a little research on it because I don't have the facts.
Back on that.
But I don't have the complete facts. But I do believe that there was harmony in existence before these people arrived. Yeah, because who else is greedy? Who else is want to selfishly me? I take everything. I mean, we talking about the wall over here, and to my understanding, California was a part of Mexico. Now they busted out of Mexico because this was originally a part of their land anyway, but we took it just like the situation going on right now with Palestine and Israel. They're taking more land from Palestinians. So why? You don't have the right to go over there and do that. You don't have the right to.
China is building up in Africa right now
because they know that it's the last frontier, and there's a lot of good. There's a lot of money there.
Okay, let me.
If they're reaching diamonds and stuff out the ground from over there, who wouldn't want to be over there except us, reaping the benefits? I have a girlfriend that built in Africa.
Yeah,
she said granite on the ground out there. We're paying thousands of dollars to put granite in our kitchen. So they scooping it up, bringing it back over here, and charging us for it. So we just got to be more aware, self-included, more aware of our history. And I think this whole Nipsey thing is bringing me to become more aware of our heritage, because he went back to, what was this country, poetess? Where's
Eritrea, right?
What's it called?
Eritrea.
He went back to Eritrea and saw his real heritage, and it changed his life.
It changed his life.
And his brother was moving around here like a prince.
That could be why so many of us are walking around lost.
Yeah, we are lost because we don't know the truth about who we are. We don't know the truth about where we come from. And we don't know the truth about how these people in America, what they're really doing. Okay? So what was the next one, number 5?
Number 5, on breaking the chains. Own the supply chain from production to consumption. People take stubs at Jay-Z, but he's the first black artist to have vertically integrated biz model where he owns the whole chain.
That's good.
That's powerful.
That's really deep.
That's really deep.
Own it. Everything is still referring back to ownership. To ownership.
Because you have to.
To ownership. You don't know. Just imagine a young rapper excited. Records on the radio. You don't know that you need to own your masters and what steps you need to take to do it.
But if they look at this, I'm going to put something on their mind and ask, research,
and that's what you want them to do, is to put something on their mind, and you want to research. And he said, own the whole chain.
And remember how we had the guest on here when she was saying, a lot of people have wisdom, but they die with it. What good does that do? He didn't die. He shared it. He shared his knowledge.
He walked that walk. He lived the walk, and he walked it. He talked it.
That's why it's so powerful.
And he became it, and it touched people all around the world. And I like the fact that he wasn't ashamed to admit that he saw somebody, and this to go back to what we were talking about earlier. You can look at somebody. You can follow in the footsteps of someone else. You don't necessarily have to experience every little thing, because knowledge is powerful and it's passable. So that don't mean that you got to go through the trenches
that they went through, because it made it easier.
They set the way. What did he say? Jay-Z did what? And he took the model from what? So that meant that he was looking at someone else and saying, okay, this is what I can do.
Let me apply it in my life this way.
This is what could happen.
Right.
And in that, saying that, Jay-Z was the one when Nipsey decided that I'm going to sell my tapes. And he put his own price on it, because the one thing that we all been bamboozled about in the music industry is that, why are you selling your tape for $20.99? You can sell it for $59.99. You can sell it for $100.99. You can sell it for whatever you want, but the industry will put a price on it. Nipsey didn't put a price on it. He put a price, but it wasn't $9.99. It was $100, I believe, per CD, or he sold it for $1,000 or $100. Which one was it?
Really?
Yeah. He sold his CDs for...
It was for $1,000. Okay, I'm getting to that. That's number 6.
Oh, yeah, it was for $1,000. No.
It was $1,000. On creating value, I released 100 mixtapes and charged $1,000 for each, because I understood the economic principle of scarcity. Excuse me. The profit funded my independent label. Okay. So $1,000 each.
Okay, so it's saying that he sold each one of his mixtapes for $1,000.
Wow.
And that's how, and then I can integrate into this that's how he actually met Lauren, because she went to buy one for somebody else.
Really?
Yeah, she bought she bought she was looking for that tape because it was exclusive. It wasn't, it was exclusive. So she was looking for the tape. But also Jay-Z purchased, I think he said he purchased $10,000 worth.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that, and with that, and the rest of the tapes being sold, he started a record label. But that was Jay supporting a brother that was thinking outside the box.
And
let's talk about that.
Also, Nipsey believing in himself that he had a product that was worth $1,000 per tape.
Right. But the real thing about that, and the real message that I really received from that, is actually thinking outside the box. We have to think outside the box. And here I go back to the programming. We are programmed to do a certain thing a certain way. It doesn't matter. But he stepped outside of that program that was already there and said, no, I can sell my information for whatever I want, and it's cool.
Right.
And he did that. And then for Jay to support him, I love Jay.
Right.
I love the man that he has become. He was a dope dealer and all that stuff as well, but I love the man that he has transformed into a business mogul as well. And
he does support.
And
he
Nipsey,
really does.
And Nipsey said, look, this brother right here is doing this different. So let me take a look for that. Let me look at this and let me follow this model.
Right.
And he
now,
did.
7 is the last and final.
I know I'm still on 6 though, baby.
But okay.
I just want people to understand that you have to think outside the box.
No, you do.
I don't care what it is. You have to be able to think all the way around. Put yourself in a different position, not just from your own thoughts and what you think. You have to think, how would someone else think?
Right.
It goes in here. You have to think, how would someone else think? How else? What's another way? Think outside the box. Okay. We have a caller. Hello, caller. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Oh, they hung up. Okay.
Took too long.
Okay.
Call back. Now, the 7th thing I wanted to go on. 7, on owning real estate. I own the block where I used to hustle from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. I hustled, then I rented. Now, me and David Gross will own in Crenshaw. And that was smart, too.
Yeah, that was back to the earlier comment about him being out there all day, all morning, and
on somebody else's property.
On somebody else's property. Police harassing them.
Right.
The owners are harassing them. And so now what?
Now he owns it. They can't tell him to leave or go home. But this also reminds me of Dr. Claude Anderson. He also had a blueprint. So, I mean, you could pull from the Nipsey Hussle. You could pull from Dr. Claude Anderson, which I tried reaching out to him. There's so many people out there that are trying to do things. And I think that the reason why this was so...
Oh, we have a caller. I'm sorry. Excuse me.
But, I mean, this generation... Our generation had Dr. Claude Anderson. This generation has Nipsey Hussle.
Good morning, caller. How are you?
Hi. How are you guys doing today?
Just wonderful. How are you?
Good. My name is Shalana. I'm coming from Los Angeles area. And I was just calling in because I just wanted to give how Nipsey inspired me in the community. And I think, his death has hurt and impacted so many people, because he was so inspirational and always speaking positivity and uplifting people. And, even though it was so hurtful and sad that he died, I think he actually died with fulfilling his purpose and doing everything that he could do while he was here. And I think the fact that he died, it impacted more people, and it spreaded his message a lot more, so that people could be able to see what he stood for and what mission he was on. And I'm just hoping that our people, all people, but mainly our people, will wake up, come together, and continue his race and continue the marathon, because it don't stop.
Oh, that's so awesome. Caller, thank you. I'm 100% with you. And I said one of the things that I am going to do is I am really going to push to not let it just die out. Not let it just die. You know what I mean? And I really am. I have a couple of things that I want to work on that will help build the situation as far as be productive for Black people. Because the lady was on the show and she said, don't call us African Americans. She said, we're Black people.
So whenever I think that's the problem. We have to start with figuring out, what do we identify with? Who are we? So we can get more sense of who we are. And I think that's why we kind of are so lost and so easily manipulated and maneuvered, because, we don't know our background. And you know, I think it's time for us to, like you guys said, listen to the show, do some research, and find out who we are, where we come from, so we can have an identity.
Right.
And a lot of people don't even want to identify with, which is sad.
Yeah, because we've been brainwashed, bamboozled.
Right.
Yeah, no, caller, I really appreciate your comments, and I really do like the fact that you were touched by this situation.
And the things that you got out of it
was really big.
Right.
Yeah, and I think even if you just touch 2 people, 5 people, 1,000 people, what he stood for and how he moved it, even just, he knew what he wanted from the beginning when he started his rap career. And he embraced where he came from, but he said he's not going to let that define him by moving forward and taking the game. And I think that's what we miss a lot, like you guys said, in our culture. We let other people benefit off everything that we've designed, created, and built. And I think what Nipsey did when he started with that mixtape, starting to sell his mixtape at $100, he put a price on the value that he thought his work was worth. And that's something we don't do. We don't value ourselves or what we contribute. And I think it just starts with us being kind to each other and spreading love.
Oh, that's awesome.
I think he had the mindset of Tupac, but the hustle of Jay-Z and the swag of Snoop Dogg, and that created Nipsey Hussle.
That's beautiful. Okay. Say it again. That was nice. So he had the what?
He had the
mindset of Tupac.
The mindset of Tupac.
Carried out.
Mm-hmm.
He had the swag of Snoop Dogg and the hustle of Jay-Z.
The hustle of Jay-Z.
That's fine.
He took from all of them.
Yeah, he
and I
did.
think we all got to take from Nipsey.
Yeah, because that was he completed the package, and the fact that you said, although he was gone too soon, his mission was over here on this earth, and now it was to spread the knowledge, spread the information, and for everyone to really see exactly what he stood for and what he died for, and it was his people, it was his neighborhood,
and it wasn't in vain.
So we have to make sure it's not in vain. But caller, thank you for calling in. I really appreciate
Have a great weekend.
You too, guys.
All right. Out.
Something that she touched on: spread the love.
Spread the love and
kindness.
kindness.
The love and kindness. And we don't get a lot of that.
Because the day that he was at the shop and this happened, according to an article that I read, he was there because one of his friends had gotten out of prison and he wanted to dress him so he could go be with his family.
Give him some clothes.
Yeah, and so then you're doing a good deed in the mix of all that. But yeah, I love what she said. Spread the love and spread the kindness. Also, I wanted to speak a little bit about Nipsey's, the school, the Votech school. Mm-hmm. Where it was dealing with the new division of STEM, but it's science, technology, engineering, and math.
Mm-hmm. And that's what we started off with our show talking about. They don't offer that to our children.
Yes,
remember that?
Yeah,
so it's so hard to find.
To be able to connect that with our community, for our children to have that advancement in education is extremely important because we have been dummied down and we have totally been left out the loop from the Spanish, speaking English and Spanish, to black children only having one primary language, which is English. And I think that's unfair. But to even go deeper, to get off into the science and technology, I think that he was totally thinking out the box.
He was thinking
and he was
out
totally
the box.
Thinking about our children,
the future.
His children, his nephew, his people, what was missing. And these are elements that was missing with the school situation. Mm-hmm. And I think that was important that he said, look, okay, we're going to do something about it.
Right. And wasn't he meeting with the police chief?
Yeah, they said the next day. And they met and everything with Rock Nation.
Right. Jay-Z.
Yes, which to keep it going.
No, we definitely have to keep it going. For him
to say, listen, there is a real problem. I don't even understand how another black person could kill another black person, especially after because we don't know our history. We know a little bit of slavery, this, slavery, that, but you don't know the depths of what black people went through. If you did, we would respect each other a whole lot more. But we have built so much hatred inside of ourselves for each other because of our programming that we're not this, we're not that, but we are. We are all, everything and more.
Right.
Everything and more. I think during Black History, it was just a whole list of things that black people have created that white people have taken credit for.
Right. And our children don't even know that somebody black had created.
And then we had our generation, I think, was the last of the, that mama generation of, for me, educating my grandchildren is a priority in my life. No matter, anytime I'm with them, it's about making sure that they understand something about this life and something great about us as black people. But he said the ultimate goal is to create a resource for the school. The ultimate goal for the school was really to create a network across the countries. So I think when he went back to his country and he saw how devastating that was and how the lack of everything, that now he's creating this network. And it is so bomb because I went to the website and looked up, you have to visit Too Big to Fail website. Too Big to Fail. It is just really wonderful. It's opening up our minds. It's opening up being able to communicate with other kids across the country. It's astronomical. It's really bomb. And I think that we need to take that.
So you said that it's opening up a way for our children to communicate with children from other countries. Yes. Which is beautiful. Yes. Me and my son are now talking about, he wants to go visit China. And I think it's important that we do take our children, outside of the United States of America. It is very important.
It's important
for them to see something else. Yes. And, right.
We're stuck. We can live in this country our whole life and never go anywhere and be content. But I also want to go with with Congresswoman Karen Bass of the 37th District. She is putting it on the floor next week to put Nipsey Hussle's contribution to South Central into the congressional record, where it would be a part of the United States history forever.
Did you sign the petition to get the street
I haven't
named
seen
after
it yet.
him?
I haven't ran across my situation yet, but I'll look for it. But Congresswoman Karen Bass is putting on the floor for Nipsey's contribution to Los Angeles to put it down in history. So that's how big this brother touched everybody. Everybody has, I haven't heard one bad thing about him. I'm prior to his game banging days. Now, we could only imagine what was going down then. And we don't want to negate that because that's part of his history, part of his story. But with that being said, you can always change. You can always become. You can always do better. You have to see the vision. You have to know that it's there. And you have to respect the vision and respect the life. Right. And I want to say, and I'm a little bit, I can honestly say that I had one encounter with Nipsey. And my son is still in the music business. But when he was first really starting out, I was at a store on Slauson and Overhill, and Nipsey came in. And I was like, oh my God, this is Nipsey. I'm going to talk to him about my son. Back then, I was a little bit more feisty and more aggressive.
Really?
Imagine that. But I totally walked up to him, approachable. Let me talk to him. I said, Nipsey, my name is Brenda. My son is so-and-so, and he's at such and such studio, and I would like for him to talk with you. And he said, okay. So can I have your number? He was like, yes. And then back then I was like, well, if I'm not getting a direct number, then don't give me a number where I have to call around. And he actually gave me both numbers that he had on him at the time. And he said, call those numbers right now. Those are my direct numbers, because any mother that would be out here grinding, hustling for her son, that's bomb. And so I gave my son the number and they collabed. So I wanted to say that he was a real one. He wasn't Hollywood on you. He was approachable, and that's probably one of the reasons why he wasn't up on his game on that day. But he was definitely approachable, definitely just really mild-mannered, cool, and I was grateful because my son actually took the numbers, called, and they actually hooked up. So I was happy about that. And then also,
I was going to mention the Black-owned businesses that we wanted to create a list, right?
Right. We're going to do that. But I want to talk a little bit about the dude that did do this. That I need to do a little bit of research, because I did read that Christopher Dern was going to be his attorney.
Oh, for the
guy. That was the one from OJ case.
Allegedly. Yeah.
So it's
how do you feel about that?
I felt that he was Uncle Tom back then, so same thing applied. I don't think he went too far off of his radar. And if he wanted to represent him, but then it gave me about that. If this dude want to represent him, where is he getting the money from? How is this about to happen?
Right.
How is this about to happen?
How is that about to happen?
How is this?
Who's funding that?
Who's funding that? Where's that coming from? And then you want to try to claim insane. The streets are talking. And what I heard, a couple different things, But if you want to claim insanity, and then you have this brother right here representing you, I don't know. We have to wait and see if the streets are saying what it is.
Right.
Which is, some people say it was conspiracy, assassination. Some people say it was just straight out of envy and jealous. But some people said the brother was in there. They told him, what was that I was watching? A couple movies I've seen this play out. Like, what was that? Belly in the movie Belly, where DMX came in to kill the minister because he wanted to get time off, or they were going to take care of him or whatever, and he did that.
Now, I was thinking that Christopher Darden, he picked it up as a, what do you call those cases? Pro bono case, maybe. I don't know. Like you said,
I don't know. At the end of it, I really just want to see how it plays out. I want to see if this brother is go to trial, if he winds up in a penitentiary, or if he winds up in a mental institution, or if he winds up, breathing it off.
Protective custody or something.
Protective custody. A lot of different things could happen.
Interesting.
But I was just really thought like, oh wow, how did this attorney make this happen?
How did that happen?
But they did say that, I just want to say this about Nipsey. He stood for black love, black economics, black empowerment. He stood for that. And we can't
let that just die. Let that go in vain. We have to act on it. It's
2019. What's going to take for us to say we have to band together? When they start rolling down the street with in the tanks with the guns pointed on us,
I think it did put a lot on people's minds, especially the younger generation.
Absolutely,
you hear them talking differently now, which is a good thing.
Yeah, so we just got to keep it moving. But it's just like, Martin Luther King came and gone. Malcolm came and left. Marcus Garvey came and went. W.E. Du Bois came and left. Yeah. Carter G. Woodson came and left. Frederick Douglass came and left. And we're still fighting for rights and still talking about the same stuff in 2019. Right. So at some point, black people, because I'm used to saying African American people, but I am going to change it to black people. Black people, you're going to have to sit around a round table and come up with a plan for ourselves. We have to. Because if we don't, then Nipsey's going. He was gone. And then who else is standing up?
And how many years?
Who else is standing up?
Right.
I mean, we have to change it. We have to do something different.
We definitely do.
It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable for us not to know who we are, not to learn ourselves, not to be able to teach our children to be proud to be black. Say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud. We all need to start playing that every day. Because we have to embrace our blackness and we have to be proud about it.
Especially the younger children, though. I think they're the ones who kind of like lose it because they're so.
There's a whole generation of loss. Of us being lost because when the crack got dropped in the neighborhood and the drugs got dropped in the neighborhood,
they had kids and then
we lost. No, we lost. When your mother's out there on crack, how can she teach you? Welcome to the ladies' room. Thank you, caller, for calling in. What's your situation?
I just want to comment on Nipsey, man, and just reiterate how much of a pillar in the community he was. He was a revolutionary. He was an entrepreneur, and he really was a father figure for a lot of people through his music and through his actions, man. And he's definitely going to be missed for sure.
He will.
Yes, he really will. Black love, black
power. He will
power.
be missed, but let's also look at what he stood for, and let's all stand in the gaps.
Yep, I think we need to figure out we need to recognize what he stood for, and then we need to say each day, if you could do one kind act, if you could do anything to move to change our community, to change one life, one person, I think we all owe that to not only Nipsey,
to ourselves,
to every soldier that has fallen for us. Right. We need to pick it up, and we need to say, okay, enough is enough. Thank you, caller.
Have a great weekend.
Yeah.
And with that being said, with our women's empowerment, I think we should change a couple of the formats, to incorporate more love to each other. We have to incorporate that.
Well, the person of
especially when women, amongst black women, because there's not a lot of love in the black.
Beautiful.
We are, and we all don't express it or receive it the same way.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier a little bit about, they saying black women are angry.
Right.
But I think more than that, I think the guards are up. I think after you go through whatever it may be, it doesn't necessarily have to be a bad relationship with a man, but it could be life itself, a bad relationship with your mother or anything. It's difficult.
It's difficult.
But I do think that each one of the callers said spread the love, and he said that Nipsey was a revolutionary. So we need to, you got to fight for something or die for nothing.
Right.
And if you don't stand up and fight for something, we have to start taking a stand, a more accurate, active stand in our community in what is going on. Because like I said before, we dropped a whole generation with the drugs. So how can we teach them? And now here we have the brothers with the sagging pants, and we have the sisters with every part of your body out all the time. And it's okay because it's sexy, it's beautiful, but we have to say that there is a better way. Right. And let's show that better way. We all need to fill in and do one thing positive for somebody else, period. I don't care what it is, who it is. Like the 59-second young lady.
Right.
If we just take a moment out to embrace somebody and say something positive or move them or help them.
It's a mindset. Put it in your mind that that's what you're going to do.
Because one of the clips I want to say real quick that I had saw about Nipsey, the brother that he, I guess, paid to clean the area over there, he was there cleaning. He said, I've been here, been hired, and I've been working here for so many years and this and that. So Nipsey was rolling through. Then he backed up and said, hey, get in. He got put the brother in and took him and got him shaved up. And, it's just, he was just doing the things, the small things that people don't think matter. Tell somebody you love them. Tell somebody you like them. Tell somebody something bomb. It could make a big difference in their life.
That's true.
Because we have to do one step at a time. But I do want to go down to the city council and figure out what's next. And just keep it alive. Look at Jesus. He died very young, and he was a fat, just phenomenal individual. But while he was hanging on that cross and they had a choice to choose him or the bad guy, they chose the bad guy. Right. So here's this life cycle.
Right.
So we have to stand for those good guys.
And he still prayed for the ones who were persecuting them. So
we have to.
That's powerful too.
Yeah,
showing love and that's showing
at
all times.
That's showing that Jesus was
showing
strong.
Love,
because I definitely would have been trying to kick a nail out into someone's eye. I know that sounds awful. No, but people treat you bad. Show them love.
Right.
That's what you say, but I don't know.
Well,
that's debatable for me.
Right.
But everybody, love is love, and you can be forgiving and you can be kind. Those things are extremely important. And then some people will say,
"Oh, they treated me bad. They stepped on my shoe." You don't go kill a person for stepping on your shoe, but I'm just saying some people take it to that extreme. So just show love.
Yeah, and be kind.
And be kind.
Be kind and no.
Even when you don't feel like it, be kind.
Oh, and you know that I'm a real estate agent. So if anybody want to know information about purchasing, whether it be single purchases, whether you want to get with a group of people and purchase, but if you want any type of information about that, you can always reach me at Bradford, BradfordCrr @AOL.com. Any real estate business, even if you just want to know. Even if you just have a question and you just want to know what to do, my job is to show you what you could do. And let's keep Nipsey's dream alive and purchase.
Ownership.
Everything. I want to say, Poe, you look so cute today. You've been smiling all day today. So you must have had a fantastic week. You had a good week? Yeah, it's all right because you're smiling. I don't want to hear that all right stuff. Kim?
Yes.
I'm out.
I'm out. Have a great weekend. Don't forget to shop. Springtime, get your blouse. DaisyButterflies8.com.
Okay. All right, there it is.